Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are, of course, going to be once again going back to the horrible world known as the JRC. First, the brief disclaimers, the trigger warnings, and on to the next sentence. After briefly covering a part of the last sentence we went over the other evening. All right, folks. So, if you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, pertinent links are going to be all found right there in the description box. Please take note of the article linked in there by Neuroclastic. They interviewed in it over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. Mainly, I want you to read it because the JRC felt threatened enough to actually try and intimidate a very small, very new non-for-profit by threatening a defamation lawsuit. So please read that article. We also got linked in there as well. Neuroclastics GoFundMe. They only bring in maybe $12,000 a year, folks, and that is mainly for the running of the organization. They do not have access to unlimited funds like the JRC does. So please, if you can, donate. If you can't, please share it. And to the trigger warnings, of course, when we talk about places like the Judge Rotenberg Center, Agape Boarding School for Boys, Turban World, Circle of Hope, essentially this line of schools, shady as hell, whether they're called troubled teen tough love schools or camps, or whether they are for the developmentally disabled that go from California all the way to the East Coast. You're going to hear some vivid descriptions of gets clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you do got young children present, please utilize the headphones. Also, folks, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We do use profanity as well as speaking on dark subjects. If your child is 16 or younger and watching this, parental supervision is advised. This is not the most advanced channel on planet Earth. We do not have bells and whistles. I do not know how to edit a single one of these to save my soul. So please bear with me. The information is important, if nothing else. So let's go ahead and get to it. What I wanted to stop on is not even the entirety of the last sentence of the paragraph we went over yesterday. It's in regards to gastrointestinal distress. Now, I mentioned a little bit about it yesterday, but I kind of just wanted to discuss that a little bit more. In particular, and I know this from very long, multiple years of personal experience, when you take Ritalin, you get stomach issues. I can say from second grade all the way till second year at OTC, Ozarks Technical College, I had major stomach issues. Major. Whether it was extremely sensitive stomach or the acid would just be so bad that I couldn't really do anything other than to sit there in a curled fetal position on the floor. Acid, stomach issues, which probably is what put me on the straight line to acid reflux disease way younger than someone like me should have ever been getting acid reflux. But yeah, Ritalin causes gastrointestinal distress. Medicines, period, do have at least a slight chance of causing you stomach issues. Matter of fact, the medicine that is assisting me in getting my anxiety under manageable control, Paxil, also causes stomach upset and stomach issues, which is why I had to find a way around it and why I have to take my Prevacid, one tablet, right along with the Paxil medication, first thing in the morning so that I can make sure to be able to eat breakfast instead of feeling like somebody just stuck a torch set on fire down and straight into my stomach and is now burning my stomach lining. Little visceral, I know, but it's the best descriptor I got on what that can actually feel like. I don't feel like stomach issues should be something that should deter you in taking a medication that has already proven to be an essential help to you. That's my opinion on the matter. If it is a decision between, although it's not, because I found a workaround, but even if there wasn't, I would still accept the stomach issues that come from taking that medication over the extreme, out of control anxiety that I was dealing with before I started taking it, that was becoming slowly more and more so powerful enough impact on me that the anxiety was actually beginning to psychologically paralyze me and keep me from being able to keep up or do anything. Okay? Medications, good or bad, have a chance on causing you stomach issues and digestion issues. That is the risk we take in regards to medicine. If the benefits far outweigh the inconvenience of an upset stomach, I'm still going to take that medication. Now, because of JRC, but the stomach discomfort, as painful and debilitating as some of my stomach issues have been over the past, I would take my very, very worst day of acid reflux, where it feels like the entirety of my stomach has been set on fire, over having that GED device strapped on me and having over 85 mph of electricity being forced through my body by means of device that is designed to hurt me. Okay? If we want to talk positives versus negatives, between those two options, I'm choosing the goddamn pill. Anyone would. Okay? Just saying. All right, so now we're going to start the first the first sentence of the next paragraph in regards to EL's story here. So, here we go. After his multiple prior unsuccessful placements, EL was admitted to the JRC on December the 10th, 1987 at the age of 19. Here we go again. And I'm going to ask the same question that at this point is probably permanently tattooed into the inside of my eyelids. I ask it so damn often, multiple times a day, every day going through this from 2008 to now in regards to the JRC. I know there was a form in this time period, yes, even in the late 80s, though maybe not quite as detailed as it is now, that there was a version of the full functional behavioral assessment that was out. I know this because that assessment was developed as a way to help come out of the institutional era, where we found extreme multiple abuses against people with mental health issues and people with developmental disabilities. The assessment was created as a means to provide pertinent information to make it easier to make an educated decision in regards to the treatment program and plan for your kid. Okay? If you do not have that assessment, or the very, very important and pertinent information one gleans from that assessment, yes, even in its most basic version, then it does not surprise me that the other placements you put that poor kid through weren't successful. How on God's green earth could you have expected them to be? Direct care workers, case managers, and people who run facilities are not psychic. They can't just simply look at you when you're enrolling inside the office with your guardian or parent and discern by looking you in the eyes exactly what triggers are there and what needs to be done to mitigate them, to bring down those behaviors to a livable and less scary level. Okay? That's what the assessment is for. The assessment is both for the parents as well as the service providers. For the parents, it helps them make the best educated decision in regards to where their kids need to go, and regards to, does this place actually specialize in the areas where my kid needs help? On the provider side, that assessment gives them insight in regards to what these triggers are, or at least provides some solid clues into what they might be, so that they might be able to better do their jobs in helping, working with the kid to come up with solutions in how to deal with these triggers. If the providers do not have that vital information from that assessment, exactly what the hell do you think they are going to be able to do? You are sending them in blind. Having not only worked with my own version, the community integrators, my own version of semi-present direct care staff, did not know automatically where my problem areas were. They would review the file with my most recent assessment information so they could understand what the areas were that I needed to be working on. And even as it passed from direct care staff to direct care staff, what were the areas that I have already progressed enough where I no longer needed that support or help with that particular trigger. Okay? That's why these assessments are vital to the service providers as well as the parents. Because again, they're not psychic. If you send a kid in there with no assessment whatsoever, the direct care staff have absolutely no information in regards to what this kid's particular trouble areas are. Okay? And yes, if you're autistic, it fucking matters. It matters a lot. Because not all of us have the exact same issues. There are some things that are across the board, but even with the ones that are across the board, how those actually affect us in regards to triggering behavior is extremely night and day different. Most autistics, we have the sensory issues. What those sensory issues are extremely different. If I go into a pastel yellow room with fluorescent light above my head, strangely enough, it does feel like the room is burning my skin. Okay? It's a weird sensory thing. I also get ridiculously sick if I make any attempt whatsoever to try to eat pudding of any kind. My aunt found that out the hard way. Okay? Now, there might be another autistic who also is put on there as sensory issues. What they cannot handle is background noise. If there is a whole lot of background noise going on, it makes it impossible for them to be able to focus on anything else. The person next to them may not be able to focus on anything if there isn't background noise. You see what I'm saying? There's no guarantee that those workers at that school are going to be actually able to help that poor kid because they do not know whether their program is going to be a match for them. They don't have that information. Okay? What the JRC does in regards to victim blaming here is they take advantage of the general public's lack of knowledge in this area. You all may have autism awareness, but when it comes to specific treatments, you're not really told anything at all. So the Joe Schmo on the street here may not actually know that a kid being sent to a program may fail that program through no fault of their own because that program is not something that's going to be able to address their specific issues as a person on the spectrum. They don't know that. They don't know that there is such differences in regards to the different kinds of treatments. Okay? And they take advantage of it. They use that blindness, if you will, by saying, well, obviously, if this kid is failing all these different programs and he's getting kicked out of multiple schools, obviously that person must be so out of control that nobody can handle them, and therefore extreme measures are merited given the circumstances. The problem is, as the commercial goes, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. And that's why those of us who've not just been through the service system, but have also worked in the service system, are here to give you guys that additional knowledge that the general public doesn't really know. Okay? If you come in blind and you see that, it seems like the kid is out of control. It's that victim blaming, knee jerk emotional response that the JRC is trying to produce in you without giving you any particulars, so that it makes the outside public that much more easier to manipulate. Exactly. That's why I like being an insider on this channel. This channel doesn't have bells and whistles. It's not fancy, and I'm certainly not making a dime off of it. But what I can give you is an insider's view into what's actually going on, as opposed to what places like the JRC are trying to manipulate you to see and believe. Okay? So, yeah. No assessment. You're putting the kid in the school blind. No assessment. The direct care staff, teachers, social workers, and all who are involved with that particular program are also going in blind. They are being given no background information in regards to the triggers, in regards to the behaviors, in regards to context, medication, none of it. In that context, it should not, therefore, be shocking when they don't work. And due to the frustration of the poor autistic at being forced to constantly change all the time with nothing to anchor on, the behaviors get worse. And as they get worse, you begin getting kicked out of programs. It's not the kid's fault. The kid is not the issue here. The issue here is that kid, their parents, and the service providers were failed before any intervention ever began. Because no one took the time to guide these parents properly through the service system, so that they could have that important information you get, yes, even from earlier versions of the full functional behavioral assessment. Okay? The parents didn't fail, the student didn't fail, the direct care staff and the program didn't fail. The service system failed. And the JRC capitalizes on it, manipulates it, and use it to draw in more desperate kids and parents every single year to torture and abuse. Point blank. Point blank. All right? Now, the second sentence is going to go ahead and tell us that they failed to treat the SIB and AB with therapies and treatments that included rewards for positive behavior, timeout, all of this. We went over the medication. Okay, so we did go a little bit over this paragraph here. It's very, very simple. If nobody has the proper information before entry into any form of intervention or any form of going into the service system, nobody's going to get help. And because of that, and the frustration that comes with it, parents get more desperate, direct care staff get more exacerbated, and the kids' behaviors get worse. We're going to go ahead and close out on that little bit of common sense and logic here. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So please, folks, don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to utilize the comments. I appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. The hanger is real, so I'm going to go stuff my face. You all have a great night. Bye-bye now.